2014 election, but maybe from a different perspective than you've heard before. Now, I got to give you a little inside baseball. A lot of us on the show are friends, and Jordan and I got into a slight dispute about whether voting is actually worth it. And of course, I, being the asshole that I am, came on the side of it's not worth it. But one of the points I wanted to make is, in particular, in my district and in many districts across the country, voting actually doesn't matter. And I present today evidence from the Thomas Jefferson program in public policy at the William and Mary Foundation or whatever. Whoever they are is not important. But basically, of an analysis of about 5,800 state legislator seats, and since Congress isn't passing a lot of bills, your state legislature really matters, that only 57.41% of all the state legislature seats were actually had an opponent. So that means about 43%, I'm not great at math, but about 43%, a little more than 42% of the state legislature seats, that's your state assembly and your state senate, were actually uncontested races. And I actually I didn't run, my mistake. And I actually live in one of those districts that happens to be uncontested. And I asked people on the panel, we were supposed to get maybe a few more people on the panel to show this example, to check if their district was uncontested. Lucy luckily did her homework because she's a wonderful woman. But yeah, like, is a democracy really a democracy when 43% of your local seats are completely uncontested? Forget about districts that are unbalanced and like there's no way a Democrat could win anyway. Like, there's not even anybody running, or like there's no competition. It's one name on the ballot, and then you can write "go fuck yourself" in the other in the write-in section. But other than that, what option do you have, Lucy? You want to talk about your experience looking at your state legislature or legislator?
Yeah. I actually had no idea who my state legislator was because I was like, oh, I don't remember voting on that. Turns out he was the only one. I'm the 120th in New York. He was the only guy running. I do, however, remember that somebody was running for sheriff here, and they were the only name. So I wrote in Vladimir Putin underneath because I was like, oh, he needs a little bit of competition. So yay, Vladimir Putin got one vote for Oswego County Sheriff's Department. Yay. No, but like it's just I don't know, it's like it's crazy to think of how many of those seats, and like I've never even heard of this guy before. Like maybe I heard of him one time 4 years ago when I was in high school. Maybe. But other than that, like if he's been there for four years, probably more than 4 years, just chilling in that fucking seat, like I think it's time that he has a little bit of competition. It is really, really shocking. And like I don't even remember his name on the ballot. I don't even remember it like being like, hey, BT Dub, this dude's running. He's running unopposed, but here's a little write-in spot. Please write somebody's name in. But I don't know, it's crazy.
So the crazy thing is I personally have actually only voted two times in my entire life, and I've been eligible to vote probably a whole bunch more. But I've only voted two times, and the one time I voted in a general election, um, on my New York on my ballot, I live in New York. There were three judges on there, and they were running unopposed, and I thought that was like, I guess it was a rare thing, but in fact, it really isn't. Local election participation has been going down. It's actually dropped 18 points from a modern peak in 2008, which of course, President Obama's election drawed a lot of voters, so I guess a lot of people were fighting for those seats, but it's dropped by 18 percentage points. So like we have way less like options in many districts. Like 43%, like that's dangerously close to half of the districts that are just completely like one guy's running, and unless you write in like South Park, that guy's gonna win. Like it's insane. So like I wanted to have just a discussion about like what can we do about this. Lucy, do you have any ideas other than like running yourself?
Uh, Fuck it, just get people out there to run. Like it's not going to get better until people decide that they want it to get better. And they're going to go out there and they're going to run and they're going to campaign and they're going to say, hey, vote for me because I'm a fresh breath of air. And it's beyond me. And it almost makes me wonder, like, what if some of these people were like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. Like that means that there's whole areas that are not being represented anywhere. Anywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's the amazing thing. I actually looked into my representative a little bit. By the way, my state senator and my state assemblywoman both ran uncontested this go around. But my assemblywoman is an interesting case. Like I checked out. I'm not gonna give her a name so you guys can look me up. But I'm in New York, so you guys know that. But I don't want you to find my neighborhood. But yeah, she only has like 2,000 Twitter followers, and she actually ran. I believe she ran uncontested her first time, and she's been elected one or two more times after that. She was on the staff of the guy of another guy, and I looked into him, and he was running uncontested. In New York, of the 150 state assembly seats, about 50 of them were just completely uncontested races. And like obviously, I live in a primarily Democratic state, and maybe you guys are like, well, that's a win for the Democrats. Like that's great, but a lot of you guys are in red states. Like I was busting Arkansas's balls the other day, but Jordan is like a real, true believing progressive, and like he wouldn't be happy if some like crazy right winger was running unopposed in his district. Like it's amazing. I know Jeff actually has competitive districts. This is like random, but just from me and him discussing elections in the past, so he's the lucky one, I guess. But like a lot of us, we don't have any choices at the local level, and a lot of laws get passed at the local level. Like, so is this really a democracy? Is what I'm asking, or is this really a republic, a democratic republic? If we only have, if our districts are uncompetitive in the first place, and so uncompetitive they don't even have opponents.